He pushed the door open. Lena Hart's office was massive, easily the size of his entire apartment. Minimalist. A glass desk that looked like it was floating, two leather chairs that probably cost more than his car, a wall of monitors displaying stock tickers and data streams Adrian couldn't begin to decipher. Abstract art hung on the walls, the kind that was either worth millions or painted by a 5-year-old, and Adrian genuinely couldn't tell which. And behind the desk, standing with her back to him, was Lana herself. She wore a black dress, tailored and sleek, her dark hair pulled into a low bun. She didn't turn around, just stood there, staring out the window at the city below like she owned it. Maybe she did. "Close the door," she said. Adrian did. Silence stretched. He shifted his weight, uncertain whether to sit or stay standing. His uniform felt suddenly cheaper, the fabric too stiff, the stitching crooked. He was acutely aware of the coffee stain on his sleeve. Finally, she turned, and the first thing he noticed was her face. Lena Hart was beautiful in the way expensive things were beautiful, sharp, precise, untouchable. High cheekbones, dark eyes that could cut through steel, a mouth that didn't smile unless it had a reason. She was the kind of beautiful that made you forget what you were going to say. But right now, those eyes weren't cold. They were panicked. "Sit," she said, her voice tight. He sat in one of the leather chairs. It was absurdly comfortable. She didn't sit. She paced to the window, arms crossed, staring out at the city like it owed her an explanation. Her shoulders were rigid. Her hands gripped her arms so hard her knuckles were white. "Do you know who I am?" she asked without turning around. "Yes, ma'am." "Don't call me that." Her voice was sharper than she probably intended. "Just don't." Adrian nodded, though she wasn't looking at him. "Okay." Another stretch of silence. He could hear the faint hum of the air conditioning, the distant murmur of traffic 22 floors below. "Do you remember the company gala?" she asked suddenly. 3 months ago, August 14th. Adrian frowned, thinking back. "The one at the Regency?" "Yes." "I worked security that night, checked coats, walked the perimeter. Why?" Lena turned to face him, and the fear in her eyes hit him like a physical force. "Do you remember anything else?" Adrian's mind scrambled. The gala had been a blur. Hundreds of guests in evening wear, champagne flowing, speeches from executives he didn't know about, quarterly earnings he didn't understand. He'd clocked out around midnight, exhausted, feet aching from standing all night. Driven home. Crashed. But there was a gap. A fuzzy, uncomfortable gap he'd never quite been able to explain. He'd woken up the next morning in his own bed, fully clothed, head pounding like someone had taken a hammer to his skull. His car was parked outside, keys on the counter. Everything normal, except he couldn't remember the last 2 hours of the night. He'd chalked it up to exhaustion, maybe a drink he shouldn't have accepted from a passing waiter when he was off the clock. He'd never thought about it again. Until now. He hesitated. "I don't remember leaving." Lena exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding her breath for 3 months. "Neither do I." Adrian's stomach dropped. She crossed the room, moving like she was forcing herself to, and leaned against the edge of her desk. Her hands were shaking. She gripped the edge to steady them. "I don't know what happened that night," she said quietly. "I don't know how. I don't know why. But I need you to understand something." She looked directly at him, and Adrian felt the ground shift beneath him. "I'm pregnant." The words didn't land right away. They hovered in the air between them. Impossible. Absurd. Then they hit. "What?" "I'm pregnant," she repeated, her voice brittle. 10 weeks, and you're the father." Adrian's brain short-circuited. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. There's no way. I don't sleep around." Her tone was sharp now, defensive. "I don't do this. I haven't been with anyone in over a year, but 3 months ago, something happened. I woke up in a hotel room at the Regency with no memory of how I got there. My dress was on the floor, my shoes were across the room, my phone was dead, and I had no idea what happened." She stopped, her jaw tight, eyes glistening. "I've gone over that night 1,000 times," she continued. "I remember the gala. I remember giving a speech. I remember talking to board members, smiling for photos. And then, nothing, just blank. I woke up at 6 in the morning in a hotel room I didn't book, and I panicked. Adrian felt like the floor was tilting. But that doesn't mean we— Security footage, Lena interrupted. I had my assistant pull it, discreetly. The cameras show us leaving the ballroom together around 11:30. Elevator, 14th floor, room 1427. She reached into her desk drawer and pulled out a manila folder. She slid it across the desk toward him. Adrian stared at it like it might explode. I don't want to see that. You need to. He didn't move. Lena opened the folder herself, pulling out a series of printed screenshots. Grainy black and white security footage. Time stamps in the corner. The first image showed a man and a woman entering an elevator. The woman was Lena, unmistakable, even in low resolution. The man was taller, broader, wearing a security uniform. Adrian felt sick. The second image showed them exiting on the 14th floor. The woman, Lena, was leaning against the man. He had his arm around her waist. The third image showed them entering a room 1427. This is insane, Adrian said, his voice hoarse. I don't remember any of this. Neither do I. Lena's voice cracked. But it happened. He stood abruptly, pacing, running a hand through his hair. His pulse was hammering. This doesn't make sense. If something happened, why wouldn't we remember? I don't know. Lena's composure was fracturing. She pressed her palms flat against the desk, head bowed. I've asked myself that every single day. My drink could have been spiked. Yours too. Or maybe we were just drunk and stupid and made a mistake. I don't know. But the paternity test doesn't lie. Adrian stopped pacing. You already— He turned to stare at her. How do you even have my DNA? You cut your hand 2 weeks ago. Broke glass in the parking garage. Security report. Blood sample for insurance purposes. Adrian's stomach twisted. You tested me without my permission? I needed to know. Her voice was rising now, desperation bleeding through the cracks in her armor. I needed to know if I was losing my mind or if this was real. And it's real, Adrian. The test came back 99.9%. It's real, and I don't know what to do. She sank into her chair, and for the first time she looked small, vulnerable, nothing like the woman on the magazine covers. Adrian stood there, heart hammering, thoughts spiraling out of control. Maya. His daughter. His life. This couldn't be happening. Why are you telling me? He asked finally, his voice barely steady. You're rich, powerful. You could have made this disappear, paid someone off, had an abortion. Why tell me at all? Lena looked up at him, and the rawness in her expression stopped him cold. Because I already lost one. The room went silent. Adrian's voice came out quieter than he intended. What? A baby. Her voice was barely a whisper. 4 years ago. I was 25, engaged to someone my family approved of. Someone appropriate. Everything was perfect on paper. Big wedding planned. Merger between our companies. Everyone was thrilled. She wiped her eyes quickly, angry at the tears that were forming. I got pregnant 3 months before the wedding. Unplanned, but I wanted it. I was terrified, but I wanted it. And then at 16 weeks, I started bleeding. I was in a meeting. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and she stopped, composing herself. I miscarried. Right there. Alone. Adrian felt his chest tighten. Everyone told me it was for the best, Lena continued, her voice hollow. That I was too young, too focused on my career, that I could try again later after the wedding. My fiancé barely reacted. He just said, well, that simplifies things. Like I'd lost a business deal, not a baby. She looked at Adrian with red-rimmed eyes. I broke off the engagement 2 weeks later. Everyone said I was being dramatic, emotional, that grief was clouding my judgment. But I knew I couldn't marry someone who saw our child as a complication. She stood, crossing to the window again, arms wrapped around herself. I swore I'd never go through that again, she said quietly. Never let myself want something I couldn't control. Never let myself be that vulnerable. And then this happens. A mistake. An accident. A night I can't even remember. And I'm terrified. Her voice broke. I'm terrified I'll lose this one too. And I can't do it alone. Adrian's chest felt like it was caving in. He thought of Maya, of every night he'd spent awake, watching her breathe in her crib, terrified she'd stop. of every fever, every scraped knee, of every tantrum in the grocery store when he thought he was failing her, of the crushing weight of being the only person standing between his daughter and the world. He knew that fear. He knew what it felt like to be alone with it. "I'm not asking you to fix this," Lena said, turning to face him. "I'm not asking you to love me or pretend this is normal or play house. She took a shaky breath. "I need to know you're not going to disappear." Adrian looked at her, really looked at her. This wasn't the untouchable CEO. This wasn't the woman who'd built an empire before 30. This was someone scared, someone breaking, someone human. He took a slow breath, and when he spoke, his voice was steady. "I'm not going anywhere." Lena's eyes widened. "What?" "I don't know what happened that night," Adrian said. "And I don't know how we got here, but I've got a kid. I know what it's like to do it alone, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone." He moved closer, standing a few feet from her. "So if this is real, if this baby is mine, then yeah, I'm in." Lena stared at him like he'd just spoken a language she didn't understand. "You don't have to do this," she said. "I have money, resources. I can hire help. You don't owe me anything." "I know." His voice was firm. "But I'm not the kind of guy who walks away from his kids. I don't care how they got here." For a long moment, she said nothing, just stared at him, searching his face for a lie she wouldn't find. Then quietly, "Thank you." Adrian nodded. "What happens now?" "I don't know." Lena crossed back to her desk, pulling herself together piece by piece. "I need time to think, to figure out how to handle this without it destroying everything I've built. The board, the press, my family." "Your family doesn't know?" "No one knows." She looked exhausted. "Just my doctor, and now you." She sank into her chair, fingers pressed to her temples. "If this gets out, it'll destroy me," she said. "The board already thinks I'm too young, too emotional to lead this company. They've been looking for an excuse to push me out since my father died and left me in charge. She gestured vaguely at herself. "This will give them exactly what they need." "Then we keep it quiet," Adrian said. Lena glanced up at him. "You'd do that? Lie?" "I'd keep my mouth shut," Adrian corrected. "There's a difference." A ghost of a smile flickered across her face. It didn't last. "I'll need to see a lawyer," she said, her voice more controlled now, slipping back into CEO mode. "Draft a co-parenting agreement, something that protects both of us. Custody arrangements, financial responsibility, medical decisions." "Fine. And we'll need to establish boundaries. This can't interfere with my work. I can't afford distractions right now. We have a product launch in 6 months that could make or break this company." "Okay." She was talking faster now, like if she could plan it all out, she could control it. "We'll need to coordinate schedules for appointments. Find a private doctor, someone discreet. And eventually we'll need to figure out childcare, living arrangements, whether you'll want custody or just visitation." "Lena." She stopped, looking at him. "One thing at a time," Adrian said gently. She nodded slowly, exhaling. "Right. One thing at a time." Adrian glanced at the clock on the wall. "I should get back. My shift ends in 20 minutes and I've got to pick up my daughter." Lena blinked like she'd forgotten the world existed outside this office. "You have a daughter?" "Yeah, Maya, she's 6. "Oh." Lena looked suddenly uncomfortable, like this new piece of information complicated an already impossible equation. "I didn't know." "No reason you would." He moved toward the door, then paused with his hand on the handle. "For what it's worth," he said, turning back, "I think you're going to be fine." Lena's expression softened slightly. "You don't know that." "No," Adrian admitted. "But you didn't fall apart when you told me. You held it together. That's something." He left before she could respond. The elevator ride down felt surreal. Adrian stared at his reflection in the polished steel doors, watching his face distort as the car descended. His heart was still racing. His hands felt numb. Lena Hart was pregnant, with his kid, a kid he didn't remember making. The elevator dinged. Lobby. He stepped out into the noise and bustle of the ground floor, delivery guys hauling boxes, employees swiping badges, phones ringing. Normal. Everything was normal, except nothing would ever be normal again. Carlos, one of the other security guys, looked up from the front desk. Hey man, where'd you disappear to? Upper floors, Adrian said. Lock issue. They ever gonna fix those things properly? Probably not. Adrian grabbed his jacket from the break room, clocked out, and headed for the parking garage. His phone buzzed as he reached his car. Unknown number. He answered. Mr. Cole, this is Jennifer Wu again. Ms. Hart asked me to send you her personal contact information. You should have it in case of emergency. Okay. I'm texting it to you now. She also wanted me to remind you that discretion is paramount. Got it. Good evening, Mr. Cole. She hung up. A second later, his phone buzzed with a text. Lena Hart. Thank you for not running. Adrian stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed back, I meant what I said. Her reply came instantly. Lena Hart. I know. Another pause, then, Lena Hart. I have my first ultrasound next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. If you want to be there. Adrian's thumb hovered over the keyboard. Adrian. Send me the address. I'll be there. Lena Hart. Okay. Adrian pocketed his phone, got in his car, and drove across town to Maya's school. Maya was, predictably, covered in glitter. Daddy! She launched herself at him the second he walked into the aftercare room, nearly knocking him over. Look what I made! She shoved a piece of construction paper into his hands. It was covered in lopsided hearts, stick figures, and enough glitter to blind a small army. We made cards for our families, she announced proudly. This one's you. See? You're really tall, and this one's me, and this one's Mom. Adrian's smile faltered slightly. Yeah? Well, not real Mom, Maya said matter-of-factly. But maybe someday I'll have a new mom, like Jessie at school. She has 2 moms and a dad. Isn't that cool? Adrian's chest tightened. Yeah, kiddo, that's cool. Can I get a new mom, Daddy? He crouched down to her level, brushing glitter off her cheek. Maybe someday. But for now, it's just you and me. And we're pretty good, right? Maya grinned, showing off a missing tooth. The best. They drove home in comfortable silence, Maya humming a song from school, swinging her legs in the back seat. Adrian's mind was 1,000 miles away. That night, after Maya was bathed, fed, and tucked into bed with her favorite stuffed dinosaur, Adrian sat on the couch with a beer he didn't drink and stared at the ceiling. He thought about Lena's face when she said, I already lost one. He thought about the way her hands had shaken. He thought about the ultrasound appointment next Wednesday. And he thought about the choice he'd just made, to stay, to show up, to be present for a child that didn't exist yet and a woman he barely knew. It was insane, reckless, completely illogical, but he'd meant every word. The next few days passed in a strange haze. Adrian went through the motions, work, Maya, dinner, bedtime, but his mind was somewhere else. He kept checking his phone, half expecting Lena to text and say she'd changed her mind, that she'd handle it alone after all. She didn't. Instead, on Friday afternoon, Jennifer Wu appeared in the security office again. Adrian looked up from his monitors. Miss Wu? Ms. Hart would like to see you, she said crisply. Tonight, 7 p.m., her residence. She handed him a slip of paper with an address written in precise handwriting. Is everything okay? Adrian asked. Jennifer's expression didn't change. She'll discuss it with you this evening. And she left. Adrian stared at the address. An apartment building on the north side of the city, the expensive part, the part where doormen wore uniforms nicer than his. He arranged for Maya to stay with Mrs. Pacheco, the 70-year-old neighbor who sometimes babysat when Adrian worked late. Maya loved her. She always had cookies and let Maya watch cartoons past bedtime. At 6:30, Adrian showered, changed into jeans, and the one button-down shirt he owned that didn't have a stain, and drove across town. The building was exactly what he'd expected, sleek, modern, the kind of place where the lobby had a chandelier and abstract sculptures that probably cost more than his annual salary. The doorman, gray-haired, impeccably dressed, looked him up and down. Can I help you? I'm here to see Lena Hart, 23rd floor. The doorman picked up a phone, spoke quietly, then nodded. She's expecting you. Elevator's on the left. You'll need this. He handed Adrian a key card. Adrian took the elevator up, watching the floor numbers climb. His palms were sweating. 23. The doors opened directly into a private foyer. Only one door. He knocked. Lena answered almost immediately. She looked different, softer. She was dressed casually, dark jeans, a soft gray sweater that looked expensive but comfortable. Her hair was down, falling past her shoulders. No makeup. She looked younger, tired. "Come in," she said. Her apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. The city lights glittered below like stars. The furniture was sleek and modern, all clean lines and muted colors. Art on the walls that Adrian couldn't identify but assumed was important. A kitchen with marble countertops and appliances he didn't recognize. But it felt empty, cold, like a showroom. "Want something to drink?" Lena asked, closing the door behind him. "Water's fine." She poured 2 glasses from a filtered pitcher in the fridge and gestured toward the living room. They sat on opposite ends of a gray sectional couch that was too big for one person. "I talked to my lawyer," Lena said, getting straight to business. He suggested a co-parenting agreement, something formal. It would outline custody arrangements, financial responsibility, medical decisions, protect both of us legally. "Okay. I'll cover all medical expenses," she continued. "Prenatal care, delivery, everything. You won't have to worry about—" "I'll pay my share," Adrian interrupted. Lena frowned. "Adrian, you don't have to—" "I'm not a charity case." His voice was firm, but not unkind. "I know I don't make what you make, but I take care of my kid. I'll take care of this one too." She studied him for a long moment. "Okay, we'll split it." "Fair." Silence settled between them. Not uncomfortable, exactly. Just unfamiliar. "I don't know how to do this," Lena admitted quietly. "I've never had to share control with anyone. Not like this." "Neither have I." She looked at him. "You've been raising your daughter alone for 6 years." "Yeah, but that's different. She's mine. I make the calls. This—" He gestured vaguely between them. "This is new." Lena nodded slowly. "We'll need to figure out boundaries, what we tell people. When? What do you want to tell them?" "Nothing," she said immediately. "Not yet. Not until I'm showing and can't hide it anymore. By then I'll be past the first trimester. Safer." Adrian understood. "How far along are you now?" 10 weeks, 3 days. "And the ultrasound's Wednesday?" "Yes, 10 a.m. There's a private clinic across town, very discreet. They don't share records." "I'll be there." Lena's expression softened. "You don't have to. I know you have work." "I'll be there," Adrian repeated. She nodded. "Thank you." They talked for another hour. Logistics, mostly. What happened if there were complications? Whether he wanted to be in the delivery room. What kind of custody arrangement made sense? It was awkward and stilted, like 2 strangers negotiating a business deal. Which, in a way, they were. But there were moments, small ones, where something else flickered. When Lena admitted she was terrified of childbirth. When Adrian confessed he'd almost passed out during Maya's delivery. When they both laughed, surprised by the sound. As Adrian stood to leave, Lena walked him to the door. "I'm sorry," she said suddenly. He turned. "For what?" "For dragging you into this. For not having answers. For being a mess." Adrian almost smiled. "You're not a mess." "I feel like one." "Yeah, well, join the club." That got a small laugh out of her. A real one. It transformed her face, made her look like someone Adrian might actually want to know. "Good night, Adrian." "Good night, Lena." He left feeling something he hadn't expected. Hope. Wednesday arrived faster than Adrian expected. He took a half day off work, telling his supervisor he had a medical appointment. Not technically a lie. He'd be in a medical building. The clinic was on the outskirts of town, tucked between a law office and a yoga studio. Discreet. Expensive looking. The kind of place that didn't advertise. Lena's car was already in the parking lot when he arrived. A sleek black sedan that probably cost more than he made in 3 years. She was sitting inside, staring at the clinic entrance like it might swallow her whole. Adrian knocked on her window. She startled, then got out. "You okay?" he asked. "No." She looked pale. "But let's do this anyway." They checked in under her name. The waiting room was small, tastefully decorated in soft blues and grays. Calming music played from hidden speakers. It didn't work. Lena's leg bounced, her hands twisted in her lap. Adrian sat beside her. "Hey," It's going to be fine. You don't know that. You're right, I don't. But freaking out won't help. She shot him a look. Is this your version of a pep talk? I'm not great at pep talks. Clearly. But her legs stopped bouncing. A nurse in pale blue scrubs appeared in the doorway. Lena Hart? They followed her down a quiet hallway to a small exam room. The nurse handed Lena a gown and left them alone. Lena changed behind a privacy screen while Adrian sat in the corner chair, suddenly very interested in a poster about prenatal vitamins. When she emerged, she looked smaller somehow, vulnerable. She climbed onto the exam table, pulling the paper blanket over her legs. I hate hospitals, she said quietly. This isn't a hospital. Close enough. A moment later, the door opened and a woman in her 50s entered. She had kind eyes and silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. Lena, she said warmly, good to see you again, and you must be Adrian. She extended her hand. Adrian shook it. I'm Dr. Patel. I've been Lena's OB for the past month. She moved to the ultrasound machine, flipping switches. All right, let's see how baby's doing. Lena lay back, her hands clenched at her sides. Dr. Patel applied gel to her abdomen. Lena flinched at the cold and pressed the wand against her skin. The screen flickered to life. Static, shadows, shapes Adrian couldn't interpret. Then, a heartbeat, fast, strong, unmistakable. There we go, Dr. Patel said, smiling. Looking good. Measuring right on track for 10 weeks, 4 days. Adrian stared at the screen. That tiny flicker. That impossible, fragile, stubborn little heartbeat. He'd seen this before with Maya, but it felt different now, new. He glanced at Lena. Tears were streaming down her face, silent and unstoppable. It's okay, she whispered, her voice breaking. It's perfect, Dr. Patel said gently. Strong heartbeat. Good size. Everything looks exactly as it should. Lena covered her mouth with one hand, her whole body shaking. Adrian stood without thinking, crossed the room, and took her other hand. She gripped it like a lifeline, her fingers digging into his palm. You're doing great, Dr. Patel said. I'll print some images for you, and we'll schedule your next appointment for 4 weeks from now. She moved around the room, giving them space. Lena stared at the screen, tears still falling. I was so scared, she whispered. I know. I thought... She couldn't finish. I know, Adrian said again. Dr. Patel handed them a strip of ultrasound photos. Lena clutched them like they were made of glass. They left the clinic in silence. The sun was too bright, the world too loud. In the parking lot, Lena stopped. I don't know how to do this, she said, staring at the photos. Neither do I. Then how? We figure it out. Adrian looked at her. One day at a time, one appointment at a time. We just keep showing up. Lena's eyes were red, but she nodded. Okay. She got in her car. Adrian got in his. But as he drove away, he looked in the rearview mirror and saw her still sitting there, staring at that ultrasound photo, like it held the answer to every question she'd ever asked. And he knew, without question, that everything was about to change. For both of them. That night, Adrian couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen and the occasional car passing on the street below. His phone sat on the nightstand, screen dark. He kept thinking about that heartbeat, that impossibly fast flutter on the ultrasound screen, the way Lena's hand had trembled in his. Around 2 a.m, his phone buzzed. Lena Hart, are you awake? Adrian picked it up. Adrian, yeah. Lena Hart, can't sleep either. Adrian, thinking about it? Lena Hart, I can't stop looking at the photos. Adrian smiled in the darkness. Adrian, that's normal. Lena Hart, is it? Adrian, when Maya was born, I kept her hospital bracelet in my wallet for 3 years, still have it somewhere. A pause. Lena Hart, that's actually kind of sweet. Adrian, don't tell anyone, I have a reputation to maintain. Lena Hart, as what, the scary security guy? Adrian, exactly. He could almost hear her laughing. Lena Hart, thank you for being there today. Adrian, you don't have to keep thanking me. Lena Hart, I know, but I'm going to anyway. Adrian set the phone down, feeling something shift in his chest. Something he wasn't ready to name yet. He fell asleep around 3. The next 2 weeks passed in a strange new rhythm. Adrian and Lena texted sporadically, mostly logistics, appointment reminders, occasional questions about prenatal vitamins or morning sickness remedies. Nothing deep, nothing personal. Just two people navigating an impossible situation one day at a time. At work, Adrian kept his head down. He scanned badges, monitored cameras, walked the perimeter. Nobody noticed anything different. Nobody knew that 3 floors below the CEO's office, the guy checking IDs at the front desk was the father of her unborn child. It felt surreal. Maya asked him one night at dinner why he kept staring at his phone. Just work stuff, kiddo. You never had work stuff before. Well, now I do. She squinted at him suspiciously, then went back to pushing peas around her plate. Can I have dessert? Did you eat your vegetables? I ate some of them. Eat all of them. She groaned dramatically but complied. Normal. Everything was normal. Except it wasn't. On a Thursday afternoon, 2.5 weeks after the ultrasound, Adrian's phone rang during his lunch break. Lena Hart flashed on the screen. She never called, only texted. He answered immediately. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Her voice sounded tight. Can you come up here? To your office? Yes, now, please. I'm on break. Adrian. She sounded strained. Please. I'm coming. He took the elevator up, pulse hammering. The 22nd floor was quieter than usual. He passed Jennifer Wu's desk, she wasn't there, and knocked on Lena's door. Come in. Lena was standing by the window again, arms wrapped around herself. She didn't turn around. Adrian closed the door. What happened? I told my mother. He froze. You what? She called this morning, wanted to have lunch. I couldn't keep lying. Lena's voice cracked. So I told her. And? Lena finally turned around. Her eyes were red. She asked if I'd lost my mind. Adrian's jaw tightened. She said this would ruin me, Lena continued, her voice hollow, that the board would use it against me, that I was being reckless and emotional and proving everyone right who said I wasn't ready to run this company. She said that? She said a lot of things. Lena's hands were shaking. She asked who the father was. I didn't tell her. She assumed it was someone important, someone from our world. When I told her you were... She stopped. What? Adrian's voice was quiet, dangerous. She said you were probably after my money. Lena looked at him, devastated. She said I was being naive, that men like you don't stick around, that you'd take whatever you could get and disappear. Adrian felt anger flood his system, hot and immediate. Men like me. Adrian. No. He crossed the room. Look at me. She did. I don't give a damn about your money, he said, his voice steady. I didn't ask for this. I didn't plan this. But I'm here and I'm not going anywhere, so your mother can think whatever the hell she wants. Lena's eyes filled with tears. I know, I told her that. I defended you, but she... Her voice broke. She said if I go through with this, she's cutting me off. No family support, no connections, nothing. Can she do that? She's on the board. She has influence. Lena sank into her chair. And she's not wrong. If this gets out before I'm ready, it'll give my enemies everything they need. Adrian pulled up a chair across from her. Who are your enemies? Half the board. They've been trying to push me out since my father died. They think I'm too young, too inexperienced. They wanted my uncle to take over, but my father's will was clear. The company goes to me. So they're waiting for you to fail. Yes, Lena's voice was bitter. And a scandal like this, perfect ammunition. Adrian leaned back. Then we don't give them one. How? We control the narrative. He thought for a moment. When are you planning to tell people? I don't know, 16 weeks, 20, when I can't hide it anymore. That's too late. Rumors will start before then. Someone will notice. Someone always notices. Lena pressed her fingers to her temples. So what do you suggest? We get ahead of it. Announce it on our terms, before anyone else can. That's insane. Is it? Adrian leaned forward. You're the CEO. You don't answer to them. You tell them what's happening. You frame it however you want, and you don't apologize. They'll eat me alive. Only if you let them. Lena stared at him. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, but it's better than hiding and waiting for someone to expose you. She was quiet for a long moment. I need to think about it, she said finally. Okay. But Adrian, if we do this, it'll affect you too. People will talk, they'll judge you. Your daughter might hear things. Adrian's stomach twisted. He hadn't thought about that. About Maya hearing rumors at school, about other parents whispering. I'll handle it, he said, more confidently than he felt. Lena nodded slowly. Okay. She stood, crossing to her desk, and pulled a folder from a drawer. My lawyer drafted the co-parenting agreement. I wanted you to look at it before we sign anything. Adrian took the folder. It was thick, official looking. I'll read it tonight. Take your time. If there's anything you want changed, we can negotiate. Lena, she looked up. I'm not trying to screw you over, he said quietly. I just want to make sure my kid is okay. Her expression softened. I know. Adrian left feeling like he'd just stepped into a war he hadn't signed up for. That evening, after Maya was in bed, Adrian sat at his kitchen table and read through the agreement. It was dense, full of legal jargon he had to Google every other sentence. But the basics were clear enough. Joint legal custody, shared decision-making on medical, educational, and religious matters. A detailed financial breakdown. Lena would cover medical expenses, Adrian would contribute to childcare and basic needs on a sliding scale based on his income. Visitation schedules, holiday arrangements. It was thorough, fair, even. But it made everything feel real in a way that ultrasound photos didn't. He was going to be a father again. To a child he hadn't planned, with a woman he barely knew. His phone buzzed. Lena Hart, did you get a chance to look at it? Adrian, reading it now. Lena Hart, and? Adrian, it's fair. I don't have any issues with it. Lena Hart, really? Most people would want their lawyer to review it. Adrian, I don't have a lawyer. A pause. Lena Hart, I can recommend someone if you want a second opinion. Adrian, I trust you. Another pause. Longer this time. Lena Hart, you shouldn't. Adrian, why not? Lena Hart, because you don't know me. Not really. Adrian stared at the message. Adrian, then let's fix that. Lena Hart, what? Adrian, dinner, tomorrow night, just us. No lawyers, no contracts, no ultrasounds, just two people trying to figure out how to do this. The typing indicator appeared and disappeared 3 times. Lena Hart, I don't think that's a good idea. Adrian, why not? Lena Hart, because this isn't a relationship. It's a co-parenting arrangement. Adrian, I know, but we're going to be in each other's lives for the next 18 years. Might as well try to be friends. Another long pause. Lena Hart, fine, but somewhere quiet. I can't risk being seen. Adrian, my place. I'll cook. Lena Hart, you cook? Adrian, I have a 6-year-old. I've been cooking for years. Lena Hart, okay, what time? Adrian, 7. Maya will be at a sleepover. Lena Hart, see you then? Adrian set his phone down and immediately regretted the invitation. What the hell was he thinking? Lena Hart. In his apartment. The apartment with the leaky faucet and the couch he'd bought off Craigslist and the crayon drawings taped to the fridge. He looked around. The place was a mess. Dishes in the sink, Maya's toys scattered across the living room floor, a pile of laundry on the chair he kept meaning to fold. He had 24 hours to make this place look like an adult lived here. The next evening, Adrian was a wreck. He'd spent the entire day cleaning, scrubbing the bathroom, vacuuming the carpet, hiding the embarrassing amount of takeout menus in his junk drawer. He'd even bought fresh flowers from the grocery store, then felt stupid about it and almost threw them away before deciding to keep them anyway. Maya had been delighted about her sleepover at her friend Emma's house. You never let me do sleepovers on Friday nights, she'd said, bouncing on her toes. Well, tonight's special. Why? Because I said so. She'd squinted at him suspiciously, but hadn't pushed it. Now, at 6:45, Adrian stood in his kitchen, staring at the pasta sauce simmering on the stove and wondering if he'd made a terrible mistake. The doorbell rang at exactly 7. Lena stood in the hallway wearing jeans and a simple black sweater. No heels, minimal makeup, Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked nervous. "Hi," she said. "Hi, come in." She stepped inside, glancing around. Adrian saw his apartment through her eyes, small, cluttered, nothing like her sleek high-rise. But she didn't say anything, just smiled slightly. "It smells good. Just pasta, nothing fancy." "I like pasta." They stood there awkwardly for a moment. "You want something to drink?" Adrian asked. "I have water, juice, tea, no alcohol, obviously." "Water's fine." He poured 2 glasses while she wandered into the living room. "Is this Maya?" She was looking at a framed photo on the bookshelf. "Yeah, that was last year, school picture day." "She's beautiful." "She's a handful." Lena smiled. "I bet." They ate at the small kitchen table, the only table Adrian had. The pasta was fine, not restaurant quality, but edible. Lena ate slowly, like she was thinking about something else. "This is weird," she said finally. "Yeah, I don't do this. Dinner at someone's apartment, casual conversation. I don't—" She stopped. "I don't have friends." Adrian set down his fork. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't have friends. Not real ones. I have employees, board members, business contacts, people who want something from me, but not friends." "That sounds lonely." "It is." She looked down at her plate. "But it's safer." "Safer how?" "People can't disappoint you if you don't let them get close." Adrian studied her. "Is that what happened? Someone disappointed you?" Lena was quiet for a long time. "My ex-fiancé," she said finally, "the one I mentioned. After the miscarriage, I realized I didn't know him at all. We'd been together for 2 years, engaged for 6 months, and I didn't know him. He only cared about the merger, the optics, what our families would get out of it. I'm sorry." "Don't be." I dodged a bullet. She took a sip of water. "But it taught me something. People want things from you, and when you stop being useful, they leave." "Not everyone." "No?" She looked at him. "Then why did Maya's mother leave?" The question hit harder than Adrian expected. "I don't know," he admitted. "She said she couldn't do it anymore, couldn't handle being a mother, couldn't handle me. I spent years trying to figure out what I did wrong." "And did you?" "No. Because I didn't do anything wrong. She just didn't want to be there." He met Lena's eyes. "Some people leave. That's on them, not us." Lena's expression shifted. "You really believe that?" "I have to. Otherwise I'd drive myself crazy." She nodded slowly. "I'm terrified I'll be like her." "Like who?" "Maya's mother. That I'll have this baby and realize I can't do it. That I'm not cut out for this. That I'll ruin everything." Adrian leaned forward. "You won't." "You don't know that." "Yeah, I do." "Because you're already terrified of screwing up. People who don't care don't worry about it." Lena's eyes glistened. "What if I'm not enough?" "Then we figure it out together. That's the whole point." She wiped her eyes quickly, frustrated with herself. "I hate crying." "You're pregnant. You're allowed to cry." "I cried at a commercial yesterday. A commercial for paper towels. It was humiliating." Adrian laughed. "Yeah, that's pretty bad." "Shut up." But she was smiling. They talked for hours. About everything and nothing. About Adrian's childhood in a small town 2 states over. About Lena growing up in a family where business deals were discussed at the dinner table and emotions were considered weaknesses. About Maya's obsession with dinosaurs. About Lena's father, who'd built Vanguard from nothing and died of a heart attack 3 years ago, leaving her to pick up the pieces. "I was 26, Lena said quietly, "and suddenly I was running a multi-billion-dollar company. Everyone was watching, waiting for me to fail, and I almost did. The first year was a nightmare. I made mistakes, big ones, but I learned. You turned it around." "I did, but it cost me everything else, relationships, friends, any semblance of a normal life." She looked at him. "And now this. A baby. With someone I barely know. My mother's right. It's reckless." "Maybe," Adrian said, "but reckless isn't always bad." "Spoken like someone who's never run a company." "True. But I've raised a kid alone for 6 years. That's pretty reckless, too." Lena smiled. "Fair point." It was almost midnight when she finally stood to leave. "Thank you," she said at the door. For tonight. For not making this weird. It was definitely weird. You know what I mean. Adrian smiled. Yeah, I do. She hesitated, then said, I meant what I said earlier about not having friends, but maybe… She stopped. Maybe we could try. Try what? Being friends? Or something like it? Adrian's chest tightened. I'd like that. Lena nodded, then left. Adrian closed the door and leaned against it, exhaling. This was getting complicated. The following Monday, everything fell apart. Adrian was at work, monitoring the lobby cameras, when his phone exploded with notifications. Messages from numbers he didn't recognize, emails, missed calls. He opened the first message. Unknown number. Is it true? Are you the father of Lena Hart's baby? His blood ran cold. He opened another. Unknown number. How much is she paying you to keep quiet? And another. Unknown number. Gold digger. His phone rang. Jennifer Wu. He answered. What's happening? Someone leaked it. Her voice was clipped. I don't know who, but it's everywhere. News sites, social media. Ms. Hart needs you upstairs. Now. Adrian abandoned his post and took the elevator up. The 22nd floor was chaos. People in suits rushing between offices. Phones ringing. Jennifer Wu stood outside Lena's office like a guard dog. She's in a meeting with the board, Jennifer said, but she told me to bring you in the second you arrived. The board knows. Everyone knows. Jennifer opened the door. Lena's office was packed. 10 people in expensive suits, all talking over each other. Lena stood behind her desk, arms crossed, face pale. When Adrian walked in, the room went silent. An older man with silver hair and a suit that probably cost more than Adrian's car turned to look at him. So this is him, the man said, his voice dripping with contempt. The security guard. Adrian's jaw tightened. This is Adrian Cole, Lena said, her voice steady. And yes, he's the father. A woman in her 60s, Lena's mother, Adrian realized, based on the resemblance, stood from her chair. Lena, for the last time, you don't have to do this. We can make this go away, quietly. I'm not making my baby go away, Mother. Then at least be smart about it. Pay him off. Have him sign an NDA. You don't owe him anything. Adrian felt rage building in his chest. I don't want her money, he said, his voice cutting through the room. Everyone turned to stare at him. I don't want anything except to be there for my kid, Adrian continued. So whatever you're thinking, whatever assumptions you're making about me, you're wrong. The silver-haired man laughed. How noble and how convenient. Richard, Lena warned. No, let him speak, Richard said, moving closer to Adrian. Tell me, Mr. Cole, how exactly did this happen? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you saw an opportunity and took it. Adrian's hands clenched into fists. I don't remember how it happened, he said evenly. Neither does she, but it did, and now we're dealing with it. How much do you want? Richard asked. To disappear. Name your price. I'm not disappearing. Everyone has a price. Not me. Richard's expression darkened. You're making a mistake. That's enough. Lena's voice cracked like a whip. All of you, get out. Lena, her mother started. I said get out. The board members exchanged glances, then filed out one by one. Richard shot Adrian a look that promised this wasn't over. Lena's mother was the last to leave. She stopped in front of her daughter. You're destroying everything your father built, she said quietly. No, Lena said. I'm protecting what matters. Her mother left without another word. The door closed. Silence. Lena sank into her chair, covering her face with her hands. Adrian crossed the room. Are you okay? No. Her voice was muffled. That was a disaster. What happened? Who leaked it? I don't know. Someone on the board, probably. Or maybe my mother. She wanted to force my hand. Lena looked up, her eyes red. Now it's everywhere. The press is camped outside my building. My phone won't stop ringing. What do we do? Lena took a shaky breath. We make a statement. Control the narrative before it controls us. You sure? No. But we don't have a choice now. She pulled out her phone and called Jennifer. Draft a press release, Lena said. I'm confirming the pregnancy. Personal matter. Asking for privacy. Release it in an hour. She hung up and looked at Adrian. This is going to get worse before it gets better, she said. I know. They're going to come after you, dig into your past, say terrible things. Let them. Lena's expression cracked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I dragged you into this. Adrian knelt in front of her chair. Hey, look at me. She did. I'm not going anywhere, he said firmly. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they think. I'm here. A tear slid down her cheek. Why? Because someone has to be. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his shoulder, and cried. Adrian wrapped his arms around her and held on. Outside, the city roared. Inside, everything was falling apart. But they weren't alone. Not anymore. The press release went live at 3 p.m. Adrian watched it happen from Lena's office, sitting in one of those expensive leather chairs while she paced by the window. Jennifer had printed copies for both of them, the words crisp and clinical on company letterhead. Vanguard Technologies, CEO. Lena Hart confirms she is expecting her first child. Ms. Hart asks for privacy during this personal time and remains fully committed to leading the company forward. No further comments will be made at this time. 38 words. That's all it took to detonate Adrian's life. His phone started buzzing immediately. Text messages, voicemails, friend requests from people he'd never met. Someone had already found his Facebook page from college and screenshotted every photo. Turn it off, Lena said, not looking at him. What? Your phone. Turn it off, trust me. He powered it down. The silence felt strange. Lena's phone kept going. She ignored it. How long does this last? Adrian asked. Depends. A few days if we're lucky. Longer if someone decides to make it a story. She finally turned to face him. You should go home. Be with Maya. She might hear things at school tomorrow. Adrian's stomach dropped. He hadn't thought about that. About Maya coming home with questions he didn't know how to answer. What do I tell her? The truth. Age-appropriate version. Lena crossed her arms. You're going to have a baby with someone you work with. She's going to be a big sister. She's 6. 6-year-olds understand more than you think. Adrian stood. What about you? What about me? You going to be okay here? Lena's laugh was hollow. I've survived worse board meetings. He didn't believe her, but he left anyway. The parking garage was a gauntlet. 3 photographers with cameras shouting questions Adrian didn't answer. He got in his car, locked the doors, and sat there for a full minute before his hands stopped shaking enough to drive. Mrs. Pacheco was waiting in the hallway when he got home, her face creased with worry. Mijo, I saw the news. Not now, Mrs. Pacheco. Please. Maya's inside. I picked her up from school early. Some of the other parents were talking, and I thought, thank you. Adrian squeezed her hand. I've got it from here. He found Maya in the living room watching cartoons, her backpack still on. Hey, kiddo. She looked up. Emma's mom said you're going to have a baby with a rich lady. Adrian's heart sank. He sat down next to her on the couch. Emma's mom talks too much. Is it true? He took a breath. Yeah, it's true. Maya's face scrunched up. But you're not married. No, I'm not. Then how? It's complicated, Maya. That's what adults say when they don't want to explain things. Adrian almost smiled. You're right. Okay. Here's the simple version. I met someone. Her name is Lena. She's going to have a baby, and I'm going to be the dad, which means you're going to be a big sister. Maya processed this. Do I have to share my room? No, the baby won't live here. Then where? With Lena. But you'll get to visit, and the baby will visit us too. Maya frowned. That's weird. Yeah, it is. Do you love her? The question caught him off guard. What, Lena? Do you love her, like in the movies? Adrian didn't know how to answer that. No, we're friends. We're going to raise the baby together, but we're not together. Maya looked skeptical. That's really weird, Daddy. I know, kiddo, but sometimes life is weird. She thought about this for a moment, then shrugged. Okay, can I still have my dinosaur birthday party? Yes, you can still have your dinosaur birthday party. Good. She turned back to the TV. Adrian sat there, stunned by how easily she'd accepted it. Kids were strange like that, adaptable in ways adults forgot how to be. His phone, still off, sat heavy in his pocket. He didn't turn it back on that night. The next morning was worse. Adrian dropped Maya at school and felt every parent's eyes on him. Whispers followed him from the parking lot to the classroom door. He kept his head down, kissed Maya goodbye, and left before anyone could corner him with questions disguised as concern. Work was a nightmare. He clocked in and immediately got called into his supervisor's office. Gary was a decent guy, mid-50s, balding, the kind of manager who mostly left people alone. "Sit down, Adrian." Adrian sat. Gary sighed. "Look, I'm going to be straight with you. HR wants you transferred, off-site, different building. They think having you here is a liability." A liability? Their words, not mine. Something about conflict of interest, inappropriate workplace relationships. Gary rubbed his face. "It's corporate nonsense, but they're serious." "Where are they sending me?" "Warehouse district, night shift, same pay, different location." Adrian's jaw tightened. "That's 40 minutes from my daughter's school." "I know, I pushed back, but this is coming from the top, and I don't have the authority to stop it." "The top? You mean the board?" Gary didn't answer. He didn't have to. Adrian stood. "When do I start?" "Next week." "I'm sorry, Adrian, I really am." Adrian left without another word. He spent the rest of his shift avoiding everyone, eating lunch alone in his car, counting down the hours until he could leave. At 2 p.m., his phone, turned back on out of necessity, buzzed with a text. Lena Hart. "Can you come to my apartment tonight? We need to talk." Adrian. "What time?" Lena Hart. 7. And Adrian, "It's important." He arranged for Mrs. Pacheco to watch Maya again, drove across town, and took the elevator up to the 23rd floor with a growing sense of dread. Lena answered the door looking exhausted. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes. "Come in." Her apartment felt different tonight, dimmer. The city lights outside the windows seemed harsh instead of beautiful. "You want something to drink?" she asked automatically. "Just tell me what's wrong." Lena sat on the couch. Adrian sat across from her. "The board is pushing me out," she said flatly. "They scheduled an emergency vote for Friday. No confidence. If it passes, I'm done." Adrian felt his chest tighten. "Can they do that?" "They can try. I control 40% of the voting shares. My father made sure of that before he died. But if my mother votes against me, and she will, that's another 15%. I'd need every other board member on my side to block it. And you don't have that." "No." Lena's voice cracked. "Richard's been calling in favors all day, promising positions, leverage, whatever it takes to turn votes. I've spent 6 hours on the phone trying to hold the line, and I'm losing." Adrian moved to sit next to her. "What can I do?" "Nothing. This isn't your fight." "Like hell it isn't. They're coming after you because of me." "They're coming after me because they want control of this company. You're just the excuse they needed." She looked at him. "I knew this would happen. I knew it, and I did it anyway." "You don't regret it?" "I don't know what I feel." She stood abruptly, pacing. "I'm about to lose everything my father built, everything I've worked for. And for what? A baby I didn't plan with a man I barely know?" The words stung more than Adrian expected. "If that's how you feel, that's not—" Lena stopped, pressing her hands to her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that." "Yeah, you did." "No, I'm scared and I'm lashing out, and that's not fair to you." She turned to face him. "You've been nothing but decent through all of this. You didn't deserve that." Adrian stood. "I'm going to go." "Adrian, wait. You're right. This is your fight. And maybe I'm making it worse just by being here." "That's not what I meant." But he was already at the door. "Adrian, please." He stopped, hand on the doorknob. "You've got enough to deal with. You don't need me adding to it." "That's not true." He looked back at her. She was crying again, and he hated that he cared. "Call me if you need me," he said quietly. "Otherwise, I'll stay out of your way." He left before she could respond. The drive home was a blur. Adrian's hands gripped the steering wheel too tight, his mind racing. He'd been an idiot to think this could work. That someone like Lena Hart would actually want him in her life beyond legal obligation. She was right. They barely knew each other, and maybe that's all they'd ever be. 2 days passed in silence. Adrian didn't text, didn't call. He went to work, his last week at the main building before the transfer, picked up Maya, made dinner, pretended everything was fine. Maya asked about Lena once. When do I get to meet her? I don't know, kiddo. Does she know about my dinosaur party? Probably not. You should invite her. Adrian didn't answer. Thursday night, his phone rang. Jennifer Wu. Mr. Cole, Miss Hart would like you to attend the board meeting tomorrow, 2 p.m. Why? She didn't say, but she was very clear that she wanted you there. Adrian almost said no. Almost. I'll be there. Friday afternoon, Adrian put on the only suit he owned, bought for a funeral 3 years ago, slightly too tight in the shoulders, and took the elevator to the 22nd floor. The conference room was massive, long table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. 12 board members sat on one side. Lena sat alone on the other. She looked up when Adrian entered, surprise flickering across her face. Adrian, you came. You asked me to. Richard, the silver-haired board member, stood. This is a closed meeting, Ms. Hart. He has no business being here. He has every business being here, Lena said calmly. This vote is about my fitness to lead, my personal life. He's part of that personal life, so he stays. This is highly irregular. So is calling a vote of no confidence 3 weeks after a profit report that exceeded projections by 18%. But here we are. Richard's jaw tightened. He sat back down. Lena's mother, seated at the far end of the table, didn't look at either of them. The meeting started. Adrian barely followed the corporate jargon, the procedural language, the thinly veiled attacks disguised as concern for the company's future. But he understood the subtext. They wanted Lena gone. Richard led the charge. Ms. Hart's recent personal decisions raise serious questions about her judgment. The scandal has already affected our stock price. By 2%, Lena interrupted, which recovered within 48 hours. The optics are damaging. Our clients expect a certain level of professionalism. And they're getting it. I've closed 3 major deals this quarter alone. Revenue is up. Employee satisfaction is at an all-time high. By every measurable metric, this company is thriving under my leadership. That's not the point, another board member chimed in. This is about trust, about stability. Stability, Lena repeated. You want to talk about stability? Half of you voted against my father's expansion into Asia. Said it was too risky. He did it anyway, and now it's our largest revenue stream. You said we couldn't compete with the big players. We're outpacing them. You said I was too young, too inexperienced, and yet here we are. Her voice was steady, strong, nothing like the scared woman who'd cried in Adrian's arms 3 days ago. I have made this company stronger, Lena continued, and if you can't see that, then you're not voting me out because of my personal life. You're voting me out because you're afraid I don't need you anymore. Silence. Richard cleared his throat. All very inspiring. But the fact remains, you're pregnant, out of wedlock, with an employee. The press is having a field day. Our investors are concerned. Then let me address their concerns. Lena stood. I'm pregnant, yes, and I'm keeping this baby. I'm also keeping my position as CEO, because despite what you seem to think, I can do both. Women have been doing both for decades. The only difference is, I'm not hiding it. You should have consulted us first, Lena's mother said, speaking for the first time. This affects all of us. My personal life is not up for committee review, Mother. When it affects the company, it is. Lena's expression hardened. Then let's put it to a vote, right now. Do I have the board's confidence or not? Richard smiled. Very well. All in favor of removing Lena Hart as CEO of Vanguard Technologies. 4 hands went up immediately, including Lena's mother. All opposed? 3 hands. 4 votes to remove. 3 votes to keep. That left 4 board members undecided. Adrian's heart hammered. One of the undecided members, a woman in her 40s named Sarah Chen, spoke up. I have a question for Ms. Hart. Go ahead. Why should we trust that you can handle both the company and a new baby? What's your plan? Lena didn't hesitate. The same plan every working parent has. Childcare, support systems, boundaries. I'm not the first CEO to have a child, and I won't be the last. Steve Hoffman had twins last year. Nobody questioned his ability to lead. That's different. Why? Because he's a man? Lena's voice cut like glass. Because he has a wife at home to handle everything while he focuses on work? I don't have that luxury. But I do have resources. I do have help. And I have something Steve Hoffman doesn't have. What's that? Motivation. Lena's voice softened. My father built this company because he wanted to leave something behind, something that mattered. I'm doing the same thing for my child, for everyone who works here, for everyone who believed in me when I was 26 and terrified and had no idea what I was doing. She looked around the table. You can vote me out. You can replace me with Richard or my uncle or whoever you think will be more compliant. But you'll lose the best CEO this company has ever had. And deep down, you all know it. Sarah Chen smiled slightly. I do know it. She raised her hand. I vote to keep Ms. Hart as CEO. Another board member, an older man named Thomas, nodded. Agreed. Motion fails. That made it 5-4. Lena kept her position. Richard's face turned red. This isn't over. Yes, Lena said calmly. It is. The meeting adjourned in tense silence. Board members filed out, some congratulating Lena, others avoiding eye contact entirely. Lena's mother stopped at the door. You just made a powerful enemy, she said quietly. I know. Was it worth it? Lena glanced at Adrian. Yes. Her mother left without another word. When the room was empty except for the two of them, Lena finally let herself breathe. She gripped the edge of the table, head bowed. Thank you for coming, she said. You didn't need me. Yes, I did. She looked up. I needed to remember what I was fighting for. Adrian moved closer. I'm sorry for what I said the other night, for walking out. You had every right to be angry. Maybe, but I shouldn't have left. He hesitated. You scared me when you said I was someone you barely knew. Because you're right. We don't know each other. Not really, but I want to. Lena's eyes filled with tears. Adrian, I'm not good at this, he interrupted. Relationships, communication, any of it. I was married for 2 years and I still didn't figure it out. But I'm trying, and I need you to try too. I don't know how. Then we'll figure it out together. He took her hand. But you can't push me away every time things get hard. That's not how this works. Lena nodded, gripping his hand like a lifeline. Okay. They stood there for a moment, the city sprawling below them, the weight of everything settling into something almost manageable. I have another ultrasound next week, Lena said quietly. 16 weeks. They can tell us the gender if we want to know. Do you want to know? I don't know. Do you? Adrian thought about it. Yeah, I think I do. Okay. She smiled, tentative but real. Then we'll find out. They left the conference room together. In the elevator, Lena leaned against the wall, exhausted. I need a vacation, she muttered. When's the last time you took one? I don't remember. That's bad? I know. The doors opened on the lobby. Adrian walked her to her car. You going to be okay? He asked. Eventually. She unlocked the door, then paused. Maya's birthday party. When is it? Adrian blinked. How did you... She told me last week. Sent me an invitation through Jennifer. She did what? Lena pulled out her phone, showing him an email. Maya had drawn a picture of a dinosaur, surprisingly detailed for a 6-year-old, with the words, You're invited to my party, in crayon. Adrian groaned. I'm so sorry. She shouldn't have... I think it's sweet, Lena smiled. Can I come? You want to come to a 6-year-old's dinosaur birthday party? Why not? I've survived hostile board meetings. How bad can it be? Adrian laughed. You have no idea what you're signing up for. Then I guess I'll find out. She got in her car, rolled down the window. Adrian? Yeah? Thank you for everything. He watched her drive away, feeling something shift in his chest. Maybe this could work after all. The following Wednesday, they found out they were having a girl. Lena cried. Adrian tried not to and failed. On the drive home, Lena called him. I've been thinking about names, she said. Already? I like to plan ahead. What were you thinking?
I don't know yet, but nothing trendy, nothing my mother would pick. Adrian smiled. Noted. What about you? Any ideas? He thought about it. I always liked the name Grace. Lena was quiet for a moment. Grace, that's beautiful. Yeah? Yeah. They talked for another 20 minutes, debating middle names and laughing about terrible celebrity baby names they'd seen in tabloids. When Adrian got home, Maya was waiting. Is it a boy or a girl? A girl.
Maya grinned. I'm going to teach her about dinosaurs. I'm sure she'll love that. That night, tucking Maya into bed, she asked, Do you love Lena yet? Adrian smoothed her hair back. It's complicated, kiddo. You always say that. I know. But do you? He thought about Lena's hand in his during the ultrasound, the way she'd looked at the screen, the way she'd fought for them in that boardroom. I think I'm starting to, he admitted. Maya smiled. Good. She seems nice. She is. Then you should tell her. It's not that simple. Why not? Adrian didn't have an answer for that. Maya yawned, already half asleep. Grown-ups make everything complicated. Yeah, kiddo, we really do. He kissed her forehead and turned out the light. In the darkness, his phone buzzed. Lena Hart. Thank you for today, for being there, for not giving up on me. Adrian. I'm not going anywhere, remember? Lena Hart. I'm starting to believe that. Adrian. Good. A pause. Lena Hart. Grace Colehart. What do you think? Adrian smiled. Adrian, I think it's perfect. Maya's birthday party was in 2 days, and Adrian was starting to regret telling Lena she could come. Not because he didn't want her there, but because he was suddenly aware of how different their worlds were. Lena lived in a penthouse apartment with marble countertops and art that probably cost more than his car. Maya's party was going to be 12 six-year-olds screaming in a community center, decorated with dollar store streamers and a sheet cake from the grocery store. Stop overthinking it, Mrs. Pacheco said, watching him stress clean the apartment on Friday night. She said she wanted to come. Let her come. What if she hates it? Then she hates it, but I don't think she will. How do you know? Mrs. Pacheco smiled. Because she's coming for Maya, not for the party. Adrian wanted to believe that. Saturday morning arrived with Maya bouncing off the walls at 6 a.m. Is it time yet? Is it time? The party's not until 2, kiddo. But I want to get ready now. She was wearing her dinosaur shirt, the one with a T-Rex that said, Ray WR means I love you in dinosaur, and had already put on her party hat. It was going to be a long morning. By 1:30, the community center was chaos. 12 kids running in circles, parents clustering in corners with coffee, decorations that looked cheaper in the fluorescent lighting than they had in the store. Adrian set up the snack table, hung the Happy Birthday Maya banner that was slightly crooked, and tried not to think about Lena walking into this mess. At 2 p.m. exactly, she arrived. Adrian saw her through the window first. Black jeans, simple white blouse, hair down. She looked nervous, clutching a wrapped present that was definitely too expensive for a 6-year-old's birthday. He met her at the door. You came. I said I would. She glanced past him at the chaos inside. Is it always like this? This is calm. Wait until they have sugar. Lena smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. She was out of her element and trying to hide it. Maya spotted her immediately and came running over. You're Lena! Daddy showed me your picture. Lena crouched down to Maya's level. And you must be Maya. I've heard so much about you. Did you bring me a present? Maya, Adrian started. It's okay. Lena handed over the box. Happy birthday. Maya tore into it with zero ceremony. Inside was a stuffed dinosaur. Not a cheap one, but a museum-quality plush velociraptor with detailed features and a tag that probably said educational somewhere on it. Maya's eyes went wide. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm glad you like it. I'm going to name her Blue, like in the movies. Maya hugged the dinosaur, then hugged Lena. Thank you. She ran off to show her friends, leaving Lena standing there looking slightly stunned. She's wonderful, Lena said quietly. She's a handful. She reminds me of you. Adrian raised an eyebrow. How? Honest. No filter. Lena stood. It's refreshing. The party was exactly as chaotic as Adrian had warned. Games that devolved into arguments, cake that ended up on more faces than in mouths, a piñata incident that nearly took out one of the dads. Through it all, Lena stayed. She sat with the other parents, made polite conversation, and even helped clean up spilled juice without being asked. Near the end, Maya dragged Lena over to meet her friends. "This is Lena," Maya announced proudly. "She's having my baby sister." Adrian choked on his coffee. One of the other moms looked at Lena with sudden recognition. "Oh my God, you're Lena Hart. From the news." Lena's expression tightened. "Yes." "I didn't realize." The woman glanced at Adrian, then back at Lena. "Wow, wow." The conversation died. Other parents started whispering. Lena excused herself and stepped outside. Adrian found her 5 minutes later, leaning against the building, arms wrapped around herself. "I'm sorry," he said. "I should have warned you." "It's fine." "It's not fine. They were rude." "They were curious. There's a difference." She looked at him. "I knew what I was signing up for." "Did you?" Lena was quiet for a moment. "No, not really, but I'm learning." Maya appeared in the doorway. "Daddy, can Lena stay for dinner?" Adrian looked at Lena. "You don't have to." "I'd like to," Lena said, "if that's okay." So they ended up back at Adrian's apartment with leftover birthday cake and pizza he'd ordered on the way home. Maya talked nonstop about her party, showing Lena every single present she'd received in exhaustive detail. "And this is from Emma, and this is from Tyler, and this one's from Grandma." "Maya, breathe," Adrian said. But Lena was smiling. "It's okay. I want to hear about all of them." After Maya finally crashed around 8, sugar coma, Adrian called it, he and Lena sat on the couch with the TV on mute. "Thank you for today," Adrian said. "I know it wasn't easy." "It was good. Different, but good." Lena shifted to face him. "I've been thinking about something." "What?" "What happens after Grace is born? Living arrangements. Right now we're planning separate households. You here, me at my place. But what if—" She hesitated. "What if we tried living together?" Adrian stared at her. "You're serious?" "I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but we're going to be co-parenting. Splitting time, trading weekends. It seems inefficient." "Inefficient," Adrian repeated. "That came out wrong." Lena rubbed her face. "I'm not good at this. What I mean is, wouldn't it be easier, for Grace, to have both of us under one roof?" "You want to move in here?" "God, no, this place is—" She stopped herself. "I didn't mean that how it sounded." "Yeah, you did. Okay, yes, this apartment is too small for 4 people. But I have space. 3 bedrooms. Maya could have her own room. Grace would have a nursery. You wouldn't have to commute to that warehouse job they stuck you with." Adrian's chest tightened. "You're asking me to move into your apartment. I'm asking you to consider it. And what are we exactly? Roommates? Co-parents? What?" Lena looked away. "I don't know." "That's not good enough, Lena. What do you want me to say?" Her voice rose slightly. "That I have feelings for you? That this is more than just convenience? I don't know if I do. I don't know what this is. All I know is that when you're not around, I miss you. And that scares the hell out of me." Adrian's breath caught. "I'm terrified of messing this up," Lena continued, "of letting you in and having you leave. Or worse, staying and realizing you hate me. But I also can't keep pretending that this is just about the baby anymore." "What is it about?" She met his eyes. "You. It's about you." Adrian didn't know what to say, so he did the only thing that made sense. He kissed her. It wasn't smooth. Their noses bumped. Lena made a surprised sound, but then she was kissing him back, her hands in his hair, and nothing else mattered. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Lena looked dazed. "That was... yeah. We probably shouldn't... probably not." But neither of them moved. "I need time," Lena said quietly, "to figure out what this means, what we are." "Okay, but I meant what I said about living together, even if we're not, whatever this is. I think it would be good for Grace." Adrian thought about it, about coming home to Lena every night, about not having to split time with his daughter, about Grace growing up with both parents present. Can I think about it? Of course. Lena left around 10, and Adrian spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, replaying that kiss in his mind. The next morning, Maya asked if Lena was coming over again. Not today, kiddo. Why not? I like her. I know you do. Do you like her? Adrian poured cereal into her bowl. Yeah, I do. Then why isn't she here? Because life is complicated. Maya rolled her eyes. You say that a lot. Because it's true a lot. That afternoon, Adrian's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Cole, this is Margaret Hart, Lena's mother. Adrian's stomach dropped. Mrs. Hart, I'd like to meet with you, in person, today, if possible. Why? Because we need to discuss my daughter's future and your role in it. Adrian wanted to say no, wanted to hang up, but something in her voice made him agree. They met at a coffee shop downtown. Margaret Hart was exactly what Adrian expected. Elegant, cold, wearing a suit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. She ordered black coffee and got straight to business. How much do you want? Adrian blinked. Excuse me? To disappear, to sign away your parental rights and leave Lena alone. Margaret pulled out a checkbook. Name your price. I'm not for sale. Everyone has a price, Mr. Cole. Not me. Margaret's expression hardened. You're ruining her life. You realize that, don't you? She had a future, a plan, and you've derailed everything. I didn't ask for this. No, but you're profiting from it. Living off her guilt, her sense of obligation. Adrian's hands clenched. You don't know anything about me. I know you're a security guard with a failed marriage and a 6-year-old daughter. I know you live paycheck to paycheck. I know Lena could give you more money than you'd make in 10 lifetimes. And I don't want it. Then what do you want? To be a father to my kid. That's it. Margaret studied him. You actually believe that, don't you? Yeah, I do. She closed the checkbook. You're either incredibly noble or incredibly stupid. Probably both. For the first time, something that might have been respect flickered in her eyes. Lena told me you're planning to live together. She told you that? She tells me everything eventually, even when she's angry with me. Margaret took a sip of coffee. I think it's a mistake. You think everything about this is a mistake? Yes. But if she's determined to go through with it, then I suppose I should make sure you're not a complete disaster. Adrian raised an eyebrow. Is this your version of approval? This is my version of accepting the inevitable. She stood. But understand something, Mr. Cole. If you hurt her, if you take advantage of her or break her trust, I will destroy you. Legally, financially, socially. There will be nothing left. Noted. Good. She picked up her purse. The baby shower is in 6 weeks. You're expected to attend. Baby shower? Lena didn't tell you. Typical. She hates asking for things. Margaret handed him a business card. My assistant will send details. Don't be late. She left without another word. Adrian sat there for a long moment, processing what had just happened. He texted Lena. Adrian, your mother just tried to buy me off. Lena Hart. What? Adrian, coffee shop, downtown. She offered me money to disappear. Lena Hart. I'm going to kill her. Adrian. Don't. I handled it. Lena Hart. What did you say? Adrian. That I'm not for sale. A pause. Lena Hart. Thank you. Adrian. Also, apparently there's a baby shower? Lena Hart. She's planning one. I told her not to. She ignored me. Adrian. Sounds about right. Lena Hart. You don't have to come. Adrian. Your mom said I'm expected to attend. Lena Hart. Since when do you listen to my mother? Adrian. Since she threatened to destroy me if I hurt you. Lena Hart. She actually said that? Adrian. Word for word. Lena Hart. I really am going to kill her. Adrian smiled. Adrian. I've been thinking about your offer, about moving in. The typing indicator appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Lena Hart. And? Adrian. I want to do it, but we need ground rules. Lena Hart. Like what? Adrian. Like what we tell people, what this means, what happens if it doesn't work out. Lena Hart. Can we talk about this in person? Adrian. Tomorrow? Lena Hart. Come to my place after you drop Maya at school. Adrian. Okay. The next morning, Adrian stood outside Lena's apartment building, feeling like he was about to make the biggest decision of his life. Because he was. Lena answered the door in yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her hair in a messy bun. She was starting to show now, just barely, but enough that Adrian could see the small curve of her stomach. Hi, she said. Hi. They sat on her couch, the same one where they'd kissed 2 nights ago. Ground rules, Lena said. You wanted to talk about them. Yeah. Adrian took a breath. First, what do we tell people? Are we together? Are we just co-parenting? What do you want to tell them? I asked you first. Lena smiled slightly. I don't know. What are we? I think we're 2 people who are trying to figure this out as we go. That's diplomatic. That's honest. Lena nodded. Okay, then that's what we tell people. We're figuring it out. Second rule, Adrian continued. Maya, she's 6. She doesn't understand complicated. So whatever this is between us, we need to be careful. I don't want her getting attached and then I leave, Lena finished quietly. I didn't say that. But you thought it. She looked at him. I'm not going to leave, Adrian. I know you don't believe that yet. But I'm not. How can you be sure? Because I've already lost 1 baby. I'm not losing this one, and I'm not losing you either. Adrian's throat tightened. Third rule, Lena said. Money. I know you want to contribute, but you need to let me help. This apartment is mine. The bills are mine. You shouldn't have to. I'm paying rent, Adrian interrupted. Adrian, I'm not living here for free. We split utilities. I pay for groceries. We figure out a number that works for both of us. Lena looked like she wanted to argue. Then she nodded. Okay, but if you're struggling, I'll tell you. Promise? Promise. They hammered out the rest over the next hour. Maya would have her own room. Adrian would move in over the next 2 weeks. They'd revisit the arrangement after Grace was born and see if it still worked. Last rule, Adrian said, and this one's important. What? We don't lie to each other about how we're feeling, about what we want, about anything, because the second we start hiding things, this falls apart. Lena was quiet for a moment. That's going to be hard for me. I know. I'm not good at being vulnerable. I know that too. She met his eyes. But I'll try. That's all I'm asking. They shook on it, which felt ridiculous and formal and somehow perfect. When do you want to move in? Lena asked. Maya's got 2 weeks left of school. After that? Okay. Adrian stood to leave, but Lena caught his hand. Adrian? Yeah? I meant what I said about not leaving. I know trust takes time, but I'm going to prove it to you. He squeezed her hand. I believe you. He didn't. Not completely, but he wanted to. That night he told Maya they were moving. To Lena's house. Apartment, yeah. Is she going to be my new mom? Adrian's chest tightened. No, kiddo, she's going to be Grace's mom. You already have a mom. I don't remember her. I know. Maya was quiet for a moment. Can Lena be my bonus mom? Your what? Bonus mom. Like Emma has. She has a mom and a bonus mom from when her parents got divorced. Adrian smiled despite himself. Yeah, I think Lena would like that. Good, Maya yawned. Can I bring all my dinosaurs? All of them. Even the big one? Even the big one. She fell asleep happy, clutching Blue the velociraptor. Adrian stayed up late, packing boxes, trying not to think about everything that could go wrong. But for the first time in months, he also let himself think about everything that could go right. 2 weeks later, Adrian's entire life fit into his car. Clothes, Maya's toys, the few pieces of furniture worth keeping. It was depressing and liberating at the same time. Mrs. Pacheco cried when they said goodbye. You call me if you need anything, mijo. I will. And you take care of that girl, both of them. I will. She hugged him tight, smelling like lavender and coffee, and Adrian realized he was going to miss her. The drive across town felt surreal. Maya sat in the back seat, clutching Blue, chattering about her new room. Lena said I can paint it any color I want. I'm thinking green, like a jungle, with dinosaurs. We'll see. She also said there's a pool on the roof. Don't get any ideas. They pulled into the underground garage of Lena's building. A doorman helped with the boxes. An elevator took them straight to the 23rd floor. Lena was waiting in the doorway. "Welcome home," she said, and something in Adrian's chest settled. Maya ran inside, exploring every room, her voice echoing through the apartment. Adrian stood in the doorway with Lena, both of them watching his daughter discover her new life. "This is really happening," he said.
Yeah, it is. You scared? Terrified. Me too. Lena took his hand. But we're doing it anyway. Yeah, we are. And for the first time since this whole impossible situation started, Adrian felt like maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. The first week of living together was a disaster. Not because they fought, but because neither of them knew how to share space with another adult. Lena was used to silence and order. Adrian was used to chaos, and a 6-year-old who left toys everywhere. Maya was thrilled with her new room, but treated the entire apartment like a playground. On day 3, Lena stepped on a plastic dinosaur at 2 in the morning and nearly went through the window. "Maya needs to clean up her toys," she said the next morning, trying to keep her voice calm. Adrian was making breakfast. "She's 6. "I know she's 6, but this is a shared space. I'll talk to her." "Thank you." But it happened again and again. By day 5, Lena's patience was wearing thin. "I can't do this," she said one night after Maya was in bed. Adrian looked up from the couch. "Can't do what?" "This. Living together. It's too much, too fast. You're the one who suggested it." "I know, and I was wrong." Lena paced. "I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I need order. I need quiet. I need control," Adrian finished. She stopped. "What?" "You need control, and you can't control a 6-year-old. He stood. "Or me. Or any of this." "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" Adrian crossed his arms. "You're used to running a company, giving orders, having things done your way. But this isn't a boardroom, Lena. This is life, and life is messy." "I know that." "Do you?" Lena's eyes filled with tears. "I'm trying, Adrian. I'm trying so hard, but I don't know how to do this." His expression softened. He moved closer. "Then let me help you." "How?" "Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to control everything. Just be here. With us." Lena wiped her eyes. "What if I can't?" "Then we'll figure it out. Together." She nodded, not trusting herself to speak. The next morning, Adrian woke to find Lena sitting on the floor of the living room, picking up Maya's toys. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Cleaning." She held up a plastic triceratops. "I stepped on this one yesterday. Hurts like hell." Adrian smiled. "You don't have to do that." "I know, but I want to try. To meet you halfway." "Okay, then let me help." They cleaned together in comfortable silence. When Maya woke up, Lena sat her down at the kitchen table. "Maya, can we talk about something?" Maya nodded, suddenly serious. "I'm not very good at living with other people," Lena said. "I get grumpy when things are messy, but that's my problem, not yours. So I'm going to try to be better, but I need your help." "What kind of help?" "Can you try to put your toys away before bed, just in your room? Not the whole apartment, just your space." Maya thought about it. "Can I have a toy box?" "Absolutely." "A big one?" "The biggest one we can find." Maya grinned. "Deal." They shook on it, tiny hand and elegant fingers, and something in Adrian's chest loosened. The weeks blurred together after that. Lena's pregnancy progressed. 20 weeks became 25, became 30. Her belly grew. She got tired faster. Adrian took over more of the cooking, the cleaning, the Maya wrangling. They settled into a rhythm. Not perfect, not smooth, but theirs. Lena had a doctor's appointment at 32 weeks. Routine checkup. Adrian went with her, leaving Maya with Mrs. Pacheco, who'd come over just to see the new place. Dr. Patel did the ultrasound, measured everything, and frowned. "What?" Lena asked immediately. "What's wrong?" "Blood pressure's elevated. Not dangerously high, but higher than I'd like." "What does that mean?" "Could be nothing. Could be early signs of preeclampsia. I want to run some tests, blood work, urine sample.
And I'm putting you on modified bed rest. Lena sat up. I can't do bed rest. I have a company to run. You have a baby to protect, Dr. Patel said firmly. Work from home, limit stress, no more than 4 hours a day, and I want to see you weekly from now on. This is ridiculous. Lena, Adrian's voice cut through her panic. Listen to her. She looked at him, fear bleeding through the anger. Okay, she said quietly. Okay. The test came back inconclusive. Not preeclampsia yet, but close enough to worry. That night, Lena sat on the couch staring at nothing. What if something happens? She whispered. Adrian sat beside her. It won't. You don't know that. No. But I know you're doing everything right, and Dr. Patel's watching you like a hawk. I can't lose her, Adrian. I can't lose another baby. You won't. But what if... He took her hand. Then we'll deal with it. Together. But right now, she's fine. You're fine. So let's focus on that. Lena nodded, gripping his hand. The next 2 weeks were tense. Lena worked from home, laptop balanced on her knees, snapping at employees over video calls. She was miserable, restless, scared. At 34 weeks, everything fell apart. Adrian was at his new job, still security, different building, night shift that ended at 6 a.m. when his phone rang. Lena's name on the screen. He answered before the second ring. What's wrong? Something's wrong. Her voice was tight with pain. I'm bleeding. Adrian's blood turned to ice. How much? Not a lot, but enough. And I'm having contractions. Call 911. I'm coming. I already called. Ambulance is on the way. But Adrian, her voice broke. I'm scared. I know, but you're going to be okay. Both of you. He was already running for his car. The hospital was chaos. EMTs rushing Lena into the ER. Doctors shouting orders. Adrian tried to follow, but a nurse stopped him. Family only. I'm the father. Then wait here. Someone will update you. He waited in a room that smelled like disinfectant and fear. 20 minutes, 40, an hour. Finally, Dr. Patel appeared. She's stable, she said immediately. But we need to deliver. Now. It's too early. 34 weeks is early, but viable. And if we don't deliver, we risk losing both of them. Dr. Patel's expression was grave. Placental abruption. The placenta is separating from the uterine wall. We need to do an emergency C-section. Adrian felt the floor drop out from under him. Can I see her? 5 minutes. We're prepping the OR. Lena was in a hospital bed, pale, hooked up to monitors. She looked terrified. Adrian? He grabbed her hand. You're going to be fine. They're taking her out early. What if she's not ready? What if... She's going to be fine. You're both going to be fine. You don't know that. Yeah, I do. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to hers. Because you're the strongest person I know, and Grace is your daughter. She's a fighter too. Lena's eyes filled with tears. I love you. The words hung in the air. Adrian pulled back, staring at her. I know it's terrible timing, Lena continued, words tumbling out. And I know we said we were figuring things out, but I need you to know, in case something happens, I love you. I think I have for a while. Adrian's throat closed. Don't die on me, he said roughly. You hear me? Don't you dare die. I'll try not to. The nurses came to take her away. Adrian stood in the hallway, shaking, replaying her words. She loved him, and he hadn't said it back. The surgery took an hour, the longest hour of Adrian's life. He called Mrs. Pacheco, asked her to keep Maya overnight, texted Jennifer Wu to let her know what was happening, paced the waiting room until his feet hurt. Finally, Dr. Patel emerged. She's okay. They're both okay. Adrian nearly collapsed with relief. Grace is in the NICU. 4 pounds, 2 ounces. Small, but strong. She's breathing on her own, which is a very good sign. We'll keep her for a few weeks, make sure she's gaining weight and developing properly. And Lena? Exhausted. Lost some blood, but nothing we couldn't handle. She'll need to stay a few days for monitoring, but she's going to be fine. Can I see them? Lena first. She's asking for you. Lena was in recovery, groggy from anesthesia, but awake. She looked small in the hospital bed.
"Hey," Adrian said, pulling up a chair. "Hey." Her voice was hoarse. "Is she—" "She's perfect. 4 pounds, breathing on her own. They've got her in the NICU, but Dr. Patel says she's doing great." Lena started crying. "I want to see her. Soon, they're getting her settled." "I was so scared, Adrian. I thought—" She couldn't finish. He took her hand. "I know. Me too."
She looked at him, eyes red and exhausted. "Did you hear what I said? Before the surgery?" "Yeah." "And?" Adrian took a breath. "I love you too. I think I have since that dinner at my apartment, when you told me you didn't have friends, when you let me see the real you." Lena's face crumpled. "Really?" "Really. Then why didn't you say it?" "Because I was terrified you'd disappear, that this was all too good to be true, that I'd say it and you'd realize you didn't mean it." "I meant it," Lena said fiercely. "I've never meant anything more." Adrian leaned down and kissed her, soft, careful, full of everything he'd been too scared to say. When they pulled apart, Lena was smiling through tears. "We have a daughter," she whispered. "Yeah, we do." An hour later, a nurse wheeled Lena down to the NICU. Adrian walked beside her, both of them silent with anticipation. Grace was in an incubator, tiny and red-faced and absolutely perfect. Wires and tubes monitored her breathing, her heart rate, her temperature. But her eyes were open, dark and alert, staring at nothing and everything. Lena pressed her hand against the plastic. "Hi, baby. Hi, Grace. It's Mommy." Grace's tiny fingers flexed. "Can I hold her?" Lena asked the nurse. "Not yet, but soon. A few days once she's stronger." Lena nodded, not taking her eyes off her daughter. Adrian stood behind her, one hand on her shoulder, staring at this impossible, fragile, beautiful person they'd made. "She's so small," Lena whispered. "She'll grow." "What if she doesn't? What if—" "She will." Adrian's voice was firm. "She's a fighter, like her mom." Lena leaned back against him, and they stood there together, watching their daughter breathe. The next 3 weeks were a blur. Lena stayed in the hospital for 4 days, recovering from surgery. Adrian split his time between the hospital, home with Maya, and work. He was exhausted, running on coffee and adrenaline, but he kept showing up. Maya came to visit once, staring at her baby sister through the glass. "She's really small," Maya said. "She'll get bigger." "Can I hold her?" "Not yet, kiddo, but soon." "Can I tell her about dinosaurs?" Adrian smiled.